Alright, there we go. Come on. Oh, wasn't supposed to happen, but it's okay. We'll fix it. There we go. Anywho, so I know it's a little bit later tonight than it has been. We are going to be going to 10:30 time for right now. I will talk to my boss about going back to my original time, see if I can get off a little bit earlier at work. Because at work, we don't close until 9:30 because I work at Five Below. So, I'm the assistant manager there here in Warsaw. So, I will talk to them and see what I can do. No promises, but, you know. Let me get this shared out to... So, on tonight's show, I know some of you have seen already on my personal pages, and I just posted over on TT. Sadly, we lost Peppy on July 26th. It has been a transition of trying to go through life without the little guy. We did our first event last weekend without him, and oddly enough, I was really, really calm that morning, and then I get to the venue and I just break. Like, I broke down, and it was so hard to go through the whole event without him. Luckily, we weren't super, super busy, so that helped a little bit, but it was hard to maneuver. It was hard to be there without him. I kept, like, I know he wasn't there and everything, but my brain kept, like, flat refusing, I guess you could say. I kept looking for him. And then Sadie, whenever we were doing setup, and she was walking around helping people find their places and everything, she'd always have him. So I was, like, hoping that magically she would end up having him in her arms, and every time I would go to seek her out, that's when I was, like, slapped back to reality. But we made it through the event. We were supposed to have an event this weekend, but it got postponed due to weather. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and do tonight's show. I know, like I said, I know it's a little bit later. Can you please turn it down and do my show? I know it's a little bit later. I will talk to my boss about being able to get off work at a decent time than 10 o'clock at night. So, without further ado, let's get into tonight's locations before I tell you about the rest of the year and everything about what I have planned. So, let me get them out. So I chose a location that we've done before. And then I chose a new location. The location that I've chose that we did before, I do it every year about this time. If not, oh, thank you, Joseph. If not, like the weekend before or the weekend after. So, and it is the Hannah House down in Indianapolis, Indiana. And so, as some of you know, most of you know by now, I do attend the Hannah House Festival down in Indianapolis, Indiana, which is at the Hannah House, not the Hannah House Festival, the Paranormal Festival down at the Hannah House in Indianapolis, Indiana, every single year. Um, August 14th of, oh God, it's been a couple years ago. But the first event that I went to was called the Paranormal Day Celebration. I signed up for it, and that was my very first event that I ever attended. So I was kind of nervous, but my mom was supposed to go with me because it was supposed to be her birthday that day, and sadly, she wasn't able to make it with me that day because she ended up passing away before then. So I did make a point of making sure to get to that event, and ever since then, it's been one of the ones that I have held really close to my heart, and I do attend every year. So we are going to do that one. And they did move it. It was on the second weekend of August, but there was a lot of things going on, plus the heat. Oh, God. Last year was like unbearable. And poor Peppy, he suffered so much, but so they decided to move it back a little bit. So we're doing it this coming up. We have 1 week from today is the Henna House. I will be at the Henna House. I keep saying we because Peppy would go with me every year. So like I said, it's been a transition into, me losing him. But so from 1 week from today, we will be down at the Paranormal Festival at the Hannah House in Indianapolis, Indiana. So that I decided to go ahead and do the Hannah House tonight. Because next week I probably won't do a show because I'm going to be probably extremely tired by the time I get home. Because we're leaving on Friday to go down and do like a soft setup, and then we're staying down there, and then going to be down there all day Saturday, and it's a 2-hour drive home. So two and a half, 3-hour drive home. So I'll move my camera. And then I also got a new awesome shirt. A couple of new awesome shirts from work. This is one of them. Ghostface, and they have the other. They have Michael Myers, Freddy, Jason, and all of them. They have some really cool shirts at Five Below. So the Hannah House, for most of you do not know, if you guys can see it, probably not. So the Hannah House was built in 1858 by a man named Alexander Hannah. It had 24 rooms when it was very first built. Now there has, I don't know, I've seen it a long time ago in one of my researches, but I've never actually, I don't know because nothing has ever been said about it in like the tours that they do of the house during the Paranormal Festival. But something was said about it being moved from like downtown area to where it is now. I cannot confirm or deny that because I have no idea, because I have seen something like that inside of my research, but I never included it because I only seen it like in one article. So, and they don't tell you about that in the history when they do the tours. So, Mr. Alexander Hannah, he was a respected civic leader who had a variety of business interests, including farming, prospecting, and many, many more. Hannah served as the Indianapolis South Side community, served the South Side community as sheriff, postmaster, circuit court clerk, and as a member of the Indiana General Assembly. And then he reportedly was reportedly most passionate about being a conductor on the Underground Railroad. So as most of us know, Indiana was on the Underground Railroad path. And so it is said that, like Indianapolis was one of those areas where they went through. Um, Now, his family owned extensive property in Marion County. Alexander himself acquired about 240 acres of land in the south of Indianapolis and began the construction of his beautiful red brick dream home. So, where it sits at now is on Madison Avenue, and on the one road where you come to enter the property and exit the property is called the Hannah Avenue. So, which we'll get into that later on in the history. Um, so it was built in the Greek rival and that was a popular style in the 1850s. And then the Indianapolis Southport Toll Road ran across Hannah's property. So from 1816 to 1895, Hannah collected tolls from the travelers along his section of gravel surfaced road. The east-west south street of his house is still named Hannah Avenue. And in 1872, he married his beautiful wife, Elizabeth. They constructed a service building southeast of the kitchen. The newest additions to the house, they did a smokehouse, a wash house, a milk cooling room, summer kitchen, and a servant's quarters. And it is said that up in one of the bedrooms, I think you go up the stairs. And so, fun fact about the stairs. So, if you're going up the stairs and you notice that they feel like kind of off. So, with this house being built to Hannah's specifications, he was a shorter man. So, the stairs were built to make it like to fit him. So, they are kind of like really close together. But it is said, I'm going to say if you go up the stairs, and maybe it's like the second bedroom to your right, maybe the first, second bedroom to your left, is where they said that Hannah and Elizabeth ended up having a stillbirth. Now, nothing is confirmed, but if you go to their actual grave sites in the cemetery down in Indianapolis, you'll find Alexander's, you'll find Elizabeth's, and then in between them, there is a child-sized headstone sitting in between them. So, and this would be like what they would say would be their only child. Alexander and Elizabeth never had any other children. So, that was one of the many tragic tales that have seemed to be the first mini folklore that of the hauntings. But all accounts, they enjoyed a happy and full life.
Bro, we all know you are.
So another kind of legend was Hannah was a fervent servant. I think it's supposed to be servant. I cannot pronounce the word. During the years before the Civil War, with hundreds of wooded acres around the home and the populace, Hannah could have operated sanctuary. He could have operated as a sanctuary for fleeing slaves. Now it is said that the other tragic story that occurred in the Hannah house is that one night, while slaves were waiting to go on to the next house in the Underground Railroad or keep moving, it was raining, and one of the slaves knocked over an oil lantern, and they all perished from smoke inhalation and burns. And so Hannah couldn't risk that getting out, that he had slaves, because he was very against it. So, with him being against it, he ended up
Alright, Batman.
Until he could give them a
this is not
proper
part of the
burial
mask.
like he wanted, he ended up having them buried, it is said, underneath
The
the
mask didn't
floor
have nothing on it, so I
in
saw
the
a
basement.
old piece of shirt. The mask is homemade. Hey man, I'm gonna show you a tough car.
Sorry, I'm going a little faster in my notes, like my report.
Hold up, just wait.
Talk about. So there has never been like any actual confirmed documentation that Hannah did have
Does
slaves
anybody
back
have this
then.
game?
But back then you couldn't have slaves, not unless you owned them. But he wasn't part of that. So with him not being part of that, and him wanting to go and free them, he couldn't document that. And having them in his basement and them doing, accidentally knocking over one of the oil lanterns, yeah, he had to do what he had to do, unfortunately, until he could give them a proper burial.
Hold up, I gotta find where's my charger?
It's been passed down from family generation to generation to generation to generation. Uh, so they're also, which not categorically proven, current day neighbors report the discovery of a partially collapsed tunnels whose trajectory would indicate an association with the Hannah property. If it is ever verified, would perhaps lead some credit
That's
to
my
the
team's
Underground
name.
Railroad stories. Hannah's wife Elizabeth died in
Loki, if anybody's got this game, you can join my team, but
1888,
you
and
try
then
it out in order to join
Hannah lived as a widower, and then in 1895 she died. They were both laid to rest at the Crown Hill Cemetery. They died without having an heir to the property. So in their return, made the Hannah house lay dormant until 1899. That's the same year a man by the name of Roman O'Hiller, I cannot pronounce his last name, bought the house along with the 21 acres surrounding the property. He was a Civil War veteran who also owned a properist jewelry business in the area. He replaced the porch on the front of the house with a wider one of concrete. Also, several outbuildings, which they still stand today, were constructed. So some of the buildings there, and if you ever go to the Hannah House, you will see some of the outbuildings that were built, which are really cool. And one of them is actually used as a bathroom to this day. Um, O'Heller's daughter, Romana O'Heller Elder, and her husband were the third owners of the house, living in it until 1962. So, with that being said, this is when like most of the ghost stories started. Um, so they do start back about to the mid 1960s. The house was bought and lived in by the O'Hellers from 1968. The O'Briens from 1978. They also had an antique business that they ran from the house. And with that being said, though, if you think about it, though, like with antiques, we all come across one or two that is said to be haunted by like its owner or whatever, because antiques can be haunted, anything can be haunted. So what did the O'Briens bring in with the antiques that they were selling out of the house? So you never know. You never know. They could be bringing stuff in. It was at this time that the first paranormal activity claims were made. According to a local legend, cold spots, foul smells, flying spoons, doors, and wall hangings had a mind of their own, disembodied voices, etc. So in 1978, landmarked by the U.S. Department of Interior, it was until 1980 when the house was used as a venue for haunted house
Yo, I'm
themed
at Batman. You want something even
festivals
more tough?
or fundraisers. Since then, the property has played host to
Look at my
news
walking,
crews,
my
psychics,
Xbox.
paranormal professionals. Many have reported unusual occurrences. There's a lot of activity that has happened in or around the house. Manifestations of Mistress Hannah herself can be seen on the second floor, where she can create both awful and pleasant smells. The rumor Mrs. Hannah gave birth to the stillbirth baby seems to be the center of all activity. Noises in the basement can be heard, spoons flying across the room, and the wall hangings would swing by themselves. On one occasion, Mr. O'Brien seen the door to the attic open by itself after the handle deliberately turned itself. A lot of noises can be heard, ranging from voices to footsteps. Cold spots have been felt when there wasn't a source for it. Um, Mr. Hannah has made appearances more than once then around the house, and then the slaves that were there have still been seen in the basement waiting to be moved on, not knowing that they have been already freed. So there has been more than one like paranormal aspect around the Hannah house. Now, me for one, like I said, I have been there multiple years. I've had REM pods sitting out there going off for no reason. I've had my Boo Buddy sitting out there going off, something playing with Boo Buddy. I've had EMFs going off for no reason. So it's a really cool aspect. So some people say they can hear Mrs. Like Elizabeth crying out for her child. Being that deeply would wound me. I did have a stillbirth in 2013, so I know how that is. Um, but it also goes back to what did when the O'Briens had the
Yo,
antique
what do you rate? What do you rate my team's
things,
name?
but
It's
also
Dark Ones.
in the 1960s when the O'Hillers or however pronounce it had the house, what were they doing?
Me?
What happened? And it's also said that the bedroom where Elizabeth had the stillbirth was the mother's room also. Like when Mr. Hannah's mother would come and stay, she would stay in that bedroom. So yeah.
Me?
I love the house.
I mean,
I
I'm
love
chill. I'm
going
only
in it.
14.
I'm gonna
I
take a
got
tour
nothing to
this
say, bro.
year. I haven't been in the house for a couple of years, even though I've been on the
I'm
property.
chill, bro.
And every year she gets beautiful, more beautiful. And let me tell you,
like
I cannot
multiple
wait
things
to
that
see
goes
the
through. He's
inside
my
again
favorite
and get some
character.
updated pictures for the table. Finally. Um.
Favorite, bro. I'm dead
So
serious. Yeah.
so one that we have not done is the Rose Hotel. Going through the list to see which one.
Yeah,
And obviously,
I can tell me you're gonna be best friends.
trying to figure out which one. We'll do the Rose Hotel tonight.
Hey,
So,
what trick you want? What trick you want to see? 360s? What? You want? You want me to do what?
the original portion of the building, known today as the historic Rose Hotel, is believed to have been constructed by James McFarland
So you want me to do a donut plus a 360?
and operated as a tavern and later as a boarding house
Let me
to
hit a
serve the
donut real
Ohio
quick, and
River travelers.
I'll hit a donut real quick and I'll roll off and do a 360.
The Rose Hotel was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1972. Um, let's see if I can. So it is a two-story L-shaped brick structure. They were constructed. It was constructed in phases. So, 1830 to in 1848, and following the Civil War, a striking verdetta overlooking the Ohio River was added around 1866. The building has been restored, quote unquote, and is used today as a hotel and bed and breakfast facility. A frame gazebo built in 1882 is located on the front lawn of the hotel overlooking the river, and it is managed by,
You what?
I do not know because I did not look it back up.
You wanna
And
rap? If you want to.
so it is said that the Rose Hotel is the historic site owned by the state of Illinois, and it's located in Elizabethtown, Illinois. And so in the years following, in a rear dining room and a covered two-story porch and stairway were added. And then in 1882, the pavilion called the Summer House was built on the edge of the bluff in the front of the hotel. And then in 1891, Sarah Rose Baker, a widow who had worked at the hotel for 7 years, purchased the hotel from the McFarland family, and then the hotel passed to the daughter Charlotte Rose Gilton upon Sarah Rose's death in 1939. It remained in the Gillett family until the state of Illinois purchased the property in 1988. A large restoration I cannot speak tonight project was completed in 2000, and the hotel opened again for business.
Backwards drifting. Can't see where I'm going. Just drifting.
Let's see.
Facing backwards. It's good.
So it dates back to the War of 1812, which is land has been inhabited by the Illinois people for 2 millennia.
I got different maps. You all want to see some different maps? I got you. You want to see?
So it closed in 1967, which is the oldest continuously operating hotel in Illinois. So it was the longest operating hotel ever in Illinois to ever operate. But I think I looked up this hotel. God, I haven't looked up any new locations except for overseas. Which, yes, we're still going to be doing. I promise we're still going to be doing that.
Give you some nice slow.
My life has been really crazy. So
these are tight corners,
yeah.
And I'll take you on a very specific way.
So the restoration project was directed by the Historic Preservation Agency. So here's a fun fact. In 1803, Lewis and Clark came along the river during their travels west. Mark Twain traversed the area while the hotel was operating. They did 25 cents for a meal. McFarland came to the area about 1808 and built a 24 by 24 foot brick tavern and hotel in 1812. So it was built about 1812. So it followed the War of 1812. It was built in 1812. And then that year, McFarland took over the operations of a ferry that had been run for several years by a man named Barker. Known first as McFarland's Tavern,
I've been playing for about 3 years.
Lesson issued in 1813 to set forth charges, meal, breakfast, dinner, supper, cost of 25 cents, have a pint of good stuff, or a quart of beer, 12.5 cents. Lodging was also 12.5 cents. Can you imagine these prices now?
into a parking
I
lot
would be
spot.
I
That
would
was
be
smooth.
glad to pay
that
25
was
cents
smooth.
for a meal.
Right into a parking spot.
I would be super
360
excited
all the way over
to
there.
pay 25 cents for a meal.
360 it right
I
into
would
the
be
parking
super
spot.
excited to pay 12 and a half cents for some
Smooth, bro. And I'm only in second gear doing that.
good stuff.
Here, I'll let you guys see my gears. And
I mean,
whatnot.
I can only imagine what things would be like that.
Look, you
Like
see
the
that
prices
that white line right there?
be like today.
That's my clutch.
That would be nice. I mean,
The
I
red
would
is my
like to go back
brake.
to
It's automatic
2018 when
brake
things
on.
were still
And
freaking
then
affordable.
my clutch, that green line is my gas.
I mean, spending almost
so just wash this and
$300 today on just like
thing on side to side
3
is my
things, like
eternity.
3 packs of socks
Just wash this
and
part, and you will see how I do it.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shirts. That's ridiculous. And we wouldn't even cheat. I mean, it was like $300, but still, I paid $100 and some dollars at Walmart. That was for laundry, soap, laundry, scent
Watch
boosters,
this right here. Watch all that.
dryer sheets. So yeah, I mean, and 3 packs of socks, and what else did we get? We got like 2 or 3 shirts.
No, we got 2 for me, and then we got 2 more, and then we got we got 2 shirts.
4 shirts.
4 shirts.
Sorry, 4 shirts.
Only in second gear.
And $100, almost like $150 for all of that. I mean, that is a lot of money.
Bro, I be swinging the side to side like butter, bro.
But anyway, in 1830, the McFarland's Ferry Post Office was opened, and McFarland, the captain in the local Big Creek something, served as its postmaster until 1834. And then in 1840, another post office was opened in the settlement, which by this time was called Elizabethtown, after McFarland's wife. Well, that is something sweet. She had a name named after her. That's really cool. The first 2 editions of the McFarland's Tavern was added in 1848, and a second was so. There was three total editions. The first 2 was in 1848, and like the second edition was later and in 1865. So, and then like I said, in 1848, Sarah Rose bought the hotel, renaming it to the Rose Hotel.
I guess we'll get my.
I'm gonna add you in a group chat with you and Milo.
So, about 30 miles up the Ohio River, the Old Shawnee Town is another property owned by the Illinois Historic Preservation Agency. The Shawnee Town Bank is a splendid.
I don't have no friendly list.
If he knows really well,
So, but the Great Flood of 1937 did reach the Rose Hotel. A marker affixed to the building shows the high water mark. About 1 foot of the building was in water, speaking to the awesome power of the river. Research shows that the Rose Hotel site has been home to the humankind for at least 2,000 years. So it's one of the most beautiful sights of all of Illinois, looking out over the Ohio River. It makes sense that people would have settled there as long as there have been people.
I'm gonna see if I can hit this jump and try to land it.
I'm going to call the group chat.
So when the hotel was built, they didn't destroy like the ground surface. So there was prehistoric artifacts under and around the buildings from about 2,000 years ago. They found pits that Indians had dug in the ground and used for food storage. and then throw in debris like arrowheads and animal bones. The pits were filled with artifacts.
Well, I know he ain't gonna answer anyways.
So it's obvious that
As
there was
soon
more
as you
than just
left
a couple
the
people
group
living
chat, I
there.
hit that jump.
There are
right,
signs that a
now.
whole good-sized village, and it looks like it was fairly permanent, occupied throughout most of the year.
I'm probably like the most chillest 14-year-old.
Some of the artifacts and other items were historical significant that were found in, around, in or on the land of the Rose Hotel.
That
For
sucks.
someone crazy, for someone crazy.
So the Rose Hotel itself was added to the National Register in 1972 when it was started. When it was restored in 1999. It said they had 5 guest rooms, each with its own bath, a dining room, a kitchen, and facilities for the property manager.
So I'm apparently looking for another hat. Anyways.
I think I do have something about like it being haunted. Just give me a second.
My buddy gave me this.
So when they were doing it,
My buddy gave me a VR for my phone.
My bad for adding the big.
so during renovations, there was more to the historic property than just the 3 graves in the backyard. So there was 3 graves in the backyard, and why did that go dark? Oh, 29%. Oh goodness. Let me grab my charger here and plug my computer in before it dies.
I only have one person that's in my team, and that's one of my buddies. He has to be in my team. You have to. I know you probably don't even play this game, but in order to get into my team, you have to try out. It's basic stuff like you have to drift real well. You have to do 360s pretty good.
There we
You have to be able
go.
to tandem with me. Like I
Oh,
can't grab people's doors,
Ow.
but I'm a good leader. So if you can grab my door, you're in.
okay. So there was 3 graves on the back on the property that they found, and I didn't see nothing else about that like really in my research when I was doing it. Now that I remember more about it, so during the excavations, unmarked remains of what they believed to be former slaves and guests were found under the porch and in the side yard. So they left the bodies where they were found. So the history of the Rose Hotels have made made it a subject of many ghost stories. Bruce Klein, director of the Little Egypt Ghost Society, based out of Carbondale, has explored the hotel on multiple occasions with his group. The first trip was to investigate after getting interesting feedback. The second trip was to attempt to recreate evidence they had gotten the first time. So they had captured an image of Tote as one of the ghosts that Tote is one of the ghosts that haunts the hotel. Um, that's really weird. Like, I don't understand. Oh, so the former owner, Miss Rose, is said to, haunt the police. Her apparition has been spotted walking around the second floor halls as well as climbing the stairs. People have reported disembodied female voice and objects that move on their own during the night. Um, and then tote. And there's a lot of different. I mean, if you honestly think about it, though, with them unmarking, them coming across the unmarked graves of a lot like different remains. So, and then the three unmarked, like the three graves already that they already like documented on the actual land, and then when they were doing the restoration project on making sure the hotel could get back to its former glory because it is on the Ohio River, and them not knowing who those people are, and like paranormal people, paranormal groups and stuff like that going and trying to get like evidence of who these people are, and they're not getting like the answers that they want or are trying to get. Who are these people? These people could have been like offed at the hotel. There's no saying. And then, with Miss Rose being there, and then I'm pretty sure, Mr. Oh god, McFarland probably has been to the hotel a couple of times, checking out his hotel and making sure everything is still good. You never know what's going on there, especially with the unmarked graves. So, disembodied voices, cold spots, you know, all of that good jazz going on with the actual hotel. So, that is the two locations for tonight. Um, the events that I have planned for the rest of the year are the Hannah House, which is coming up next week. I have a couple more with Lunar Vibes, and after that, we are taking the winter off from events. Um, I'll probably take December off completely. I'm not for sure yet. I haven't really thought about it yet. To finish up my research for the over the pond, across the pond locations that I've been looking into, so that way I can come back fresh with across the pond locations for you all. Because I'm excited to get into that little segment of Haunted Memoirs. But yeah, again, Peppy is no longer with us. He did pass away on July 26th. We do not know why he passed away. Just in May, he was at the vet, got a clean bill of health, heart sounded good, lungs sounded good, no problems with his stomach, no problems with eating, no nothing. So, yeah. I think this is the longest show that we've done of me actually doing two locations and not making it a short show. So, which is a good thing. I told you guys I would make them longer, and I'm trying to make them longer. Trying to make them longer. It's just some of the locations I've dug and dug and dug, and they're really secretive about their history. They don't want us to find it, so those are on a separate list of me going to see if I can find the history out for myself. Maybe. But I'm going to go ahead and call it a good night for you guys tonight. I am happy with tonight's show, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And remember, next week, no show, only because I'm probably going to be really exhausted because Friday I'm going to be busy making sure that I got everything around and praying and hoping that my aunt makes a full recovery of whatever's been going on with her, so she can come with us, like she did last year. Um, she had a stent put in her right leg, I believe it was a week ago yesterday, and by Monday night, Monday afternoonish, she was slurring her words. She wasn't making any sense. She was confused, disoriented. And then by Wednesday night, she went unresponsive, and my uncle rushed her to the hospital. They thought she had a stroke, but she didn't, and thankfully. So they were wanting to do a spinal tap to see if she had some type of infection going to her brain. So if all y'all prayer warriors could send my aunt send really good, strong, healing energy and positive vibes, and just keep her in her prayers because I'm hoping, witnessing her today. She was up and sitting up and talking with us and pretty much back to her old self, but not there yet. So, but that was tonight's show. I hope you guys loved it. Um, Another Barrow story. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And as always, if you have a location that you want to hear about, please send me a comment, a message, or anything. I will look and see if I have it done. If not, I will make sure I get it done for you guys and do it. So yeah, love you guys. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Under the